Hey guys, it's Tricia Carr. I have new exciting things going on with my Mystic Arts Academy. You can now subscribe to receive all of the live monthly content for about a third of the investment of a single class. Included are at least one downloadable guided meditation per month, 2 live events ranging from classes, channeled messages, group readings, intuitive development guidance, Q&A sessions, and tons of community. You'll also have access to a private Facebook community for fellowship and support, and this space is kept super sacred and high vibrational. Your subscription gives you access to the whole library of classes and live events, which are on a vast array of topics. All events are offered online by Zoom video call, and many are also offered live in person at my studio here in Los Angeles. Subscribing to the Mystic Arts Academy is also a way for you to support the Charmed Life podcast and engage on a deeper level. I'm offering the subscription at a super low rate of $22 a month. Joining now locks in this rate for as long as you're subscribed. Click on the description of this episode or go to my website, triciacarcharm.com, and click on Mystic Arts Academy. I look forward to connecting. Welcome to Charmed Life, a multimedia podcast discussing spirituality, magic, and the unconditional love of the universe. Thanks for tuning in. And I am your host, Tricia Carr. Welcome to this episode of Charmed Life. This is going to be packed with education, packed with light. I'm really excited about my guest today. And before I welcome on my very special guest, I want to just remind you all that I have my Mystic Arts Academy. This is my new membership platform where you can come to classes twice per month, either in person in Burbank here in California or online. And all of the classes are in replay as well. And you just go check my Mystic Arts Academy section because I have a lot of live programs and also on-demand programs available there, and I would love to connect with you more. So thank you so much for joining us. And today we have Rhoda Shapiro. Sorry, I said Rhoda Shapiro. She's worked for a decade as a mindfulness and meditation teacher. She is an author and tantric educator. Welcome to the program, Rhoda Shapiro.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And you are you touring basically right now, doing interviews for your new book, Fierce Woman, Wake Up Your Badass Self? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been exciting. I kind of have taken a little bit of a break since we're nearing the holidays. So like November, like the end of November and December, I'm just going to be doing a few interviews. But I started out, my book came out over the summer in August. It was very exciting. So from there, I've just been, I did my book launch at Barnes & Noble out here in California. I'm in the Bay Area, so in San Jose. And from there, it's just been like signings and workshops and just really trying to get this work out there and trying to connect with women who are really looking to go deeper.
That's beautiful. And so you really work with women. I'm sure you get men who are attracted to your work as well.
Yes,
we always do.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so funny because I actually, one of the radio shows I was just on about 2 weeks ago was hosted by a man, and he read the book and he was just like, well, he said, wow, this is great for men too. Yeah. He said it actually applies. He's very applicable to his life and also to understanding women more, just understanding women in a deeper way. So it does actually, it can connect with men as well.
Well, just think about it. We're just really what we're talking about is divine feminine. And if, we are noticing that we've all been kind of experiencing toxicity for that masculine energy, the patriarchy and everything for, so much overwhelming yang energy for centuries. And even the men, even the people who are, as Marianne Williamson said, how does she say it? They are majoring in the divine masculine. Most men are majoring in divine masculine. Most women, and this is very general, are majoring in the divine feminine. And so even men or even people who are majoring in divine masculine are feeling that difficulty and pain of how the masculinity or whatever has become toxic, and are really craving the softness and the power of the divine feminine, right?
Yes, it's so true. And like, all of us have it within. All of us have that divine masculine and feminine. And so, I started out, with my tour going and speaking to women and doing women's circles. And in the next about 6-7 weeks, I'm going to start bringing the men into it.
I love it.
So going out, yes, and sharing this work and sharing ways that, we can all step into and welcome in that divine feminine and not be intimidated by it, not think that it's something less than or weaker than, but to fully see it in its power and to fully be able to acknowledge that all of us have this energy and all of us are connected by this energy.
Wow, yeah, absolutely. That's really, and connection is what I would say the feminine is about. It's all connection.
It is.
It's
all connection. It's all communication. It's all feeling and truth and presence. It's that receptive state, of really being able to accept, of course, also giving. But I feel like, in our culture now, us as women, we give so much, sometimes to the point where we just completely deplete ourselves and we just completely stress ourselves out and wear ourselves into the ground because we wear so many hats. We do so many things. We have so many relationships. There's so many demands placed on us. So I think that accepting and allowing that sense of the divine feminine to come in is just an empowering thing to realize I don't have to deplete myself anymore. I can be in a receptive state. I can receive, and that doesn't make me selfish. It makes me actually more powerful.
Well, interesting. I remember actually speaking to my husband, if we can get into tantric education a little bit, but I remember ages ago speaking to my husband about his experience of, sexuality or, having the sexual relationship. I was actually talking very generally about, because we were already in a committed relationship, but I was speaking about my friends, my female friends, my women friends who were still dating. And I was kind of mourning the fact that this imbalance that, I was even saying like, it's unfair that for women, we have the oxytocin and the kind of primal urges to nest and to keep our partner after we have sex, and the dating, sort of culture is not conducive to that anymore. And so generally speaking, everybody has their own kind of way that they're comfortable mating or pairing or having sex. But generally speaking, that nesting need is, we have to kind of like do a lot of work. We have to abandon that in some cases if we are going to fit into the dating culture. And my husband kind of not corrected me, but he was like, well, you know what? That's not the whole picture. As a man, that primal urge is actually to protect and to take care of the woman. So a man who mates or has sex, again, in the primal sense, and leaves immediately is also abandoning a primal urge to take care of his partner or to also a kind of nesting thing to protect. And so isn't that kind of, I was like, my husband's so sensitive. Yeah. But it's the two sides of that same coin. And the feminine would want to receive that protection, and that satisfies the masculine. The receiving is also a part of the whole picture, because you can't really be giving without the receiving, right?
Exactly. And what I love so much about Tantra is just hearing you talk about you and your husband having this conversation, which I love. I love the point that he makes and how that all works together. That the beautiful thing is just being able to be in a place where the giving is as good as the receiving, to the point where you really can't tell the difference between the two, especially when having sex during lovemaking. It's like, before I discovered Tantra, it was always to me very defined of like, okay, here I am giving now. Okay, I have to put my energy into this and give, and I'd be in that place. And then I'd finally, when it was time to receive, okay, now I can receive, and then I'd settle back and relax. But when I discovered Tantra a little over a decade ago, and I started, working with that energy and realizing, that flow, that harmony and balance between the two, then it became like on both ends, it was like, it just went to a whole other level,
Right.
to where when you are, in the act of lovemaking and you're in that place and, you start giving, I started being in that, place of like, oh, wow, this actually feels really good.
Right.
It starts feeling really good to give in a whole new way, which I think is pretty amazing.
I also remember a conversation, to build on that my husband and I had, and I feel so silly because we actually got together when I was 30. So, you know what I mean? Like, for me to be so kind of, I don't judge myself for it, but I really didn't know some of these things that are actually very kind of baseline. But he explained to me how a man, or at least from his perspective, really enjoys, like, they get excited and they're aroused by seeing a woman receive pleasure, to be in pleasure and ecstasy. And I remember going like, really? I had no idea. Which is, again, it seems like a very basic principle, but somehow it hadn't really occurred to me.
You're like, wow.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, so that's actually giving, is to be in that place of ecstasy, and it makes so much sense, of course. Like,
it does,
if you're if you're just speaking to someone in that exchange, if someone is excited by what you're saying, that feels good to you.
It does. You feel that in your body, right?
Right.
That charge, and then that connection just deepens even more.
And so I work a lot with the like nature spirits, because I'm a medium. And the realm of nature spirits is very much like the sensual kind of energy, because people will be like, how do I connect with fairies or whatever? And I'll say it's like that primal sensual energy. I mean, it's not to do with sexual arousal, but it's kind of like the way that you describe sexual arousal is how we connect with the creative force at that level of where things are about to create. And it's being very much in possession of yourself, knowing what you want, what you like, what you enjoy, and being extremely curious about the other one too, and what they want, and respect along the way. But, being right at that edge. Am I describing what you do with tantric education? Tell everyone what that looks like. It is. Okay, tell everyone what it looks like.
This is what I say. Like, I'm all about, in my work, taking sex out of the bedroom. So taking sexual energy, or as you said, sensual energy, is really the same thing. And I feel like in our culture, we put sex in this box and say, look, this is what sex looks like in our culture. This is where we do it. This is how we do it. And, this is who we do it with. And it's so limited. So Tantra is about expanding that definition, because really the basis, the foundation of everything is sexual energy. Sexual energy is why we are all here and why we all exist. Sexual energy at its root is really life force energy. So it's that vibration in the cells. It's that current of energy that you see when you see a waterfall running down. It's everything. It's the air that we breathe. So I always like to say that sex is like a good conversation when you're connected. It's presence, really. It doesn't have to be what we typically think that sex should be and look like. So I always, the big thing about having a tantric practice is about allowing it to bleed out into every area of your life, so that it just consumes you. And so, you can build that sensual energy, you can build that sexual energy, but it's not just to be used for sex. You can use it for your creative life, as you said. It's a very creative, dynamic energy. And it's known as Shakti, that creative, dynamic energy, that animates everything in our bodies, and in the world. We can use this in our relationships to enhance our relationships, to have more intimate relationships. We can use this for our work. We can use this to really just show up every day and be our best selves. We can use this. It's powerful, using this to manifest that, because this is everything right here. Like, you're going straight to the source, to the current. And when you use sexual energy, when you learn how to build it up and use it so that you're actually calling things to you and bringing things into your life, everything just starts gushing, towards you in life when you step down that path. And I guess that's why I get so excited about this work, because when I discovered it years back, I just felt a little like, whoa, why didn't I know about this all of the other years of my life? Why am I just learning about this now? I was about 26, when I discovered it. And I just remember at first just feeling so I'm just so frustrated thinking about, all the things that we learned when we're kids and, going to school and everything and going out into the real world, but not having, these tools, these tantric tools, not having access to that wisdom within.
Right.
All of us have this wisdom within and this power within. It's just, I guess, learning how to really access it and step into it and be present to it, to really have the courage to listen to it, and to align to it. And I don't know, I just feel like to not even know that it's there. A lot of us don't even know. We go through our days not even knowing that it's there. And sometimes, we just get we get these little glimpses of it here and there. That might be as simple as just maybe getting quiet enough to hear that voice within that just knows, that's able to tell you like, okay, this is where you should be. And this is what is. And then we kind of we hear it and they're like, wow, but then we go about our days and we forget it. And so I feel like it's really deeply important to integrate this work into everyday life so that you can move about life with it. And it can be your foundation. And just that simple knowing, I think, of ourselves as sacred, just that simple knowing of yourself as sacred and walking around with that knowledge, because Tantra is all about, just stepping into that sacred and knowing everything as sacred. And just that alone is very life-changing.
Yes. That's beautiful. So do you hold tantric workshops? Is that how you do? What does the education look like, and how do people start to, obviously by reading your book, but so far as working with someone who's actually an educator, what does that look like, and how do people start working with you if they're like, yeah, maybe I need some of this tantra stuff?
Yeah. Well, I do circles and workshops, all over in the Bay Area. And now that I have my book, I'm going out to around to different states, like the East Coast, early next year to do some workshops. And so I do that. And then I also work with people online too. So working with people online individually, just going through, the practice and showing them what it looks like. Because I feel like a lot of people have this misconception about Tantra and think that, okay, yeah, it's just about having great sex. And then, I'm going to do these exercises to get turned on and then whatever. And it's a very superficial, I feel, view of it. So I kind of, it's really great to have individual sessions, because then you can together really walk through it and say, okay, what does this look like? Bringing in breathing exercises, bringing in a lot of chakra work, working with the chakras, how to sense them, how to feel them, how to feel and really build that energy in your body, working with that Shakti and accessing it that way, working with sound, with movement, and really opening and allowing the body to just feel that sense of expansion within, and really tapping that. So a lot of the individual sessions that I do are really based in that. And that's the starting point.
Sort of like counseling and activations. Well, you're a meditation teacher too. So I imagine there are guided meditations and energy healing and visualizations, or whatever that would look like to be in that space to awaken. And it sounds, and I know you also are a yogi. Yes. You're a yoga teacher. And so this sounds a lot like the Kundalini practice too. I mean, these are basically, they overlap, or are there distinctions between Tantra?
Exactly. I was going to say Kundalini too. Sometimes I don't say it just because people are like, whoa, because then they've heard so many things about Kundalini, I
know, but that's the thing though. It's like kind of the superficial, what they've heard. I remember hearing about Tantra for the first time, and it was, Sting can have a 6-hour sex, experience, or like a 3-hour orgasm, whatever silliness they said about it. And so that's what we think it is. It's just about,
that's all they think.
I don't have time for 6 hours of sex.
Right. Exactly.
What about chafing?
Exactly.
So I'm just kidding.
No, I know.
Yeah. And then with Kundalini, it's like, oh my gosh, you have a Kundalini awakening, and you have spiritual sickness, and then you're no longer connected to the point. And those are the anomalies, and that's when it's not gone right. And for some people, that's the deal.
Yeah, there's just so much misinformation out there about it, and I feel like it's really just limited people from really wanting to step into that energy and into that power. It's made a lot of people afraid of going there. But really, Kundalini is something that I feel when I work with people, because I specifically work with people who want to awaken Kundalini. And I always say, you know, how I teach it, it's like, if Kundalini is ready, it's ready. It's going to come. Right. It's going to be there. And all of us are going to have our own unique experiences with it, because it's all based on all the years of, okay, what are we holding within our bodies? What kinds of, you know, past emotions or traumas or whatever that may be, are we still holding on to and still dealing with at an unconscious level? And so based on that, you know, doing the Kundalini work and doing the breaths and going deep with the chakras and into the body, based on that, you know, you're either going to be able to really let that create the space, I guess I'll say, for that Kundalini to really flow gently, or sometimes it's going to be a little strong. It's going to be a little hard if there's a lot of things that it really wants to move through and uproot. But other times it won't be, because you're going to have those blockages in the way, you know. So it really all depends. And I just say with everybody, you just got to trust, and you got to take it slow and breathe and go at your own pace.
So let's give a definition of all of this. Again, sometimes people are just showing up for the first time. And so let's give a definition, or some kind of, if someone's never heard of Kundalini or Kundalini awakening or Kundalini work, can you talk about that? If it's like,
okay. Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. Because we sort of just jumped into it.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. We always do.
So Kundalini is known as an energy that all of us contain at the base of the spine. And it's seen as, it's seen as a serpent that's lying dormant and asleep at the base of the spine, coiled 3.5 times around. And when you do deep work, when you do tantric work, when you do breath work or chakra work, and you get into a really deep and present state, you actually have the ability to wake up this energy and to liberate this energy. And what happens is, when you do wake up that energy at the base of the spine, it crawls and it moves up the spine and out the top of the head, and it pierces all of the chakras along the way, those 7 major energy centers in the body. And when this happens, like for me, my first Kundalini experience was by accident. And I was meditating on my heart, and all of a sudden felt like this strong current, almost like a waterfall, just like blasting through my spine, almost like going upward and just shooting out the top of my head. And it was I just remember just the intensity and the power of that experience, and feeling like just all of this, you know, how we have so many things in our lives that sometimes we just stuff away. We don't want to look at, we don't want to deal with. We think, okay, another time, or we just don't have the tools to deal with. So we just kind of, stuff it down and go about our days. Well, it was like this energy was just ripping through all those things. And I didn't even have a label for those things. I didn't even have a name for those things. Yeah. You know, I just was like, wow, I know that I'm moving through some stuff here. I don't know what it is, but it's just working itself out. And I think that's the beauty of Kundalini work or Tantra work, is that you don't need to know that the body has this wisdom in it that is just, it's undeniable and it's powerful. And sometimes we need to turn off the chatter in our minds. Sometimes we need to maybe stop trying to, just rehash and go over and over and just try to work things out, because this space here is so limited. I try to tell people the first thing is always like, let's just turn this off so that we can access all of this. Too often in our society, we're forgetting all of this. We're just coming from here. And this is a very limited place to be if you really want to truly feel your body and know your power and know who you truly are. This is such a small percentage of the body. Absolutely. So when we stop actually stepping into the body and trusting and looking at what's there and allowing it to process what it needs to process, to move through what it needs to move through. And this is the Kundalini. I mean, we allow that power to just move through us. It'll take us, it'll heal us. And so I just remember that first experience with me, and just, wow, just the power of just turning off the mind and allowing that to happen was so strong. I mean, I felt it for it lasted in me for about 2 hours. I just remember it was like 2 hours of this current of energy moving and just washing everything away. And I was crying because I was just like, what? It was so powerful, just that whole release. And at the end of it, I just remember feeling so much lighter and so much, it's weird, lighter and fuller, lighter, yet fuller at the same time. Right. And just, oh my gosh, just kind of aligning to who I am underneath all of these layers of stuff that have been built up for all these years. And once that happened for me, like that was a big turning point. Because then I just said, it is a shame that people don't have access to this, that this isn't something that we discuss, everywhere, right. That this is not something that, is out there. And that's when I said to myself, I want to learn one day, I want to go deeper in this practice. And I want to learn one day how to share this work and teach this work to others.
I have two questions. So does every single human necessarily, by the time they're an adult, have that Kundalini dormant? That's the first question. And the second question is, you're describing this very powerful. Does Kundalini awakening sometimes just happen subtly as you're doing your work, and it's awakened in a way where maybe you don't have that powerful, or not, or is it always just so radical?
Yes, those are good questions. Oh my gosh. I'm like, I don't know.
The first one is, do all adults, is it always dormant? Is it an experience that, it may be because of the society that we've created, you know what I mean?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, I know. And when we're kids, it's like, kids are so in touch with their bodies, and it's, early in life, that energy is awake. Mm-hmm. But then as we move forward in life, it kind of shuts down a little bit and we pull back a little bit. And so that energy is, I would say, like when we get into adulthood, it is, I would say, dormant in the majority. It's dormant. Mm-hmm. And, but as you say, there are so many cases where people just accidentally, through doing dance, dance is one way to really wake up that energy, doing dance, making love, and really not even knowing, these techniques and not understanding Tantra, getting into just a deep state of lovemaking and just really going for it. There are so many ways to really wake up that energy. Mm-hmm. And also there are different forms of it too. There are more subtle forms of that Kundalini energy inside the body. And so the problem is that a lot of us have not, we've not really been made to just really see, I guess, the importance of going within and noticing those feelings. So I feel like a lot of us actually do have that energy waking up here and there, but we just don't notice it because sometimes it can just be so super subtle, and we just sort of like, and just go about our day, or we don't even acknowledge it at all. The beauty of this Kundalini and this Tantra work is that, I always say, whatever we focus on expands. Right. So if we can actually start getting acquainted with our bodies in such a way that whenever any hint of any sensation, any subtle feeling, any vibration, any hint of any of that comes up, that we can actually stop and be present to it and get still and breathe into it and settle, almost like I say, sitting in the middle of it, sitting in the middle of that sensation. If we can allow ourselves to stop and be present and sit in the middle of it and breathe through it, then that actually starts to build and grow over time. If we can make that a practice, just really getting quiet, during those moments of those noticing, and then we'll start to notice them more. So I do feel, going back to your question, I do feel that, yes, it is mostly dormant in a lot of us, but it actually, there are those moments of awakening, that just those flickers that do come in, but we just don't take advantage of them.
Well, I just think about, again, if we just, the society that we've created, and it's almost necessary. You have children and you have to be the bridge and condition them to the fact this is what the world is like. And even as much as you can point them back to the inner world as well, but they still have to individuate and autonomize and figure out how to put those two pieces together. And I just think of the young boy or girl at the pubescent age, and they're sitting in classroom and their body is experiencing something, and the boy, the quintessential boy, gets called up to the blackboard at that time when his penis is having an erection, and he's ashamed. He's sitting there and he's terrified, and it's just the body doing what it will do. I would think that's the beginning of closing it down, because it's
right. That's a good point.
No one's individual fault. It's the fact that we've created a situation where, you know what I mean? Like collectively, we've just all done it, and what can you do? There's
so true.
And it's just a journey. True. It's just an expansive journey, and that's okay. In the end, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then I feel just in our culture, it's just like, with that limited perception of what sex is. And then there's all this, especially for women, there's a lot of guilt and shame surrounding it that we're made to feel. And there's a lot of guilt and shame sometimes that just the simple act of having pleasure in the body, that experiencing of pleasure for women is something that just, there's so much guilt and shame ascribed to it. And so not being able to just really, to be able to sit in that feeling and have that direct access to that feeling is so limiting. And it's hurtful, to us individually and as a society.
And as a society, we are still healing from, ages old of rape and pillage. I mean, we have that energy that is still coursing through the streams of energy in our DNA and, in our blood, and the remembrance of it, that kind of karmic past. But being able to use these tools and sit and breathe through it, we're actually healing timelines by doing that, by accepting ourselves. And I think that's really wonderful, but it's no surprise, no matter how perfect our parents could be, if that's possible, or if we don't have friends or other types of influences that directly shame us, we inherit that energy. And I think it's important work to realize it and to heal it and to be present with it and to get out of the guilt and shame and blame, but to really own it completely as the spirit becoming body as we are.
Right. Yes, that's beautifully put.
I have a question about, I'll bet this comes up in your work, aging and, the Kundalini or the Tantra work that we would do, the Tantric work we would do as we're aging. Because you know what I mean? Like as we get much older, we just shift into a different experience. And I think we also have some confusion with the sort of limitation of societal conditioning about, young is the only thing, and, plastic surgery or whatever, that, the porn industry, all of the things that are sort of not the genuine spiritual kind of sensuality, sexuality, or just embodiment. How do you speak to that, if you will? I'm so excited.
Thanks for bringing that up. That's a big topic. Yeah. It's funny because I actually feel that getting older brings forth more wisdom and more acceptance and more of that ability to stand in that power and come from that place of not buying into the superficiality of everything and coming more and more, going within, I guess. And me, I experienced that personally as well. I felt like, over the years, I just have more of that core. I just have more of that connection to my core and just that ability to, just be strong within myself and not need to, ascribe to set standards of, how we should look or what we should be doing as women, and so I feel like as age happens, as we get older, we have more of an ability to go deeper and to really connect with that power, that primal power.
I was just getting this vision, this clairvoyant image while you were talking about that of Russian nesting dolls, So it's like you have it. If you're a 60-year-old person, you have the 20-year-old person inside you, and you still own that, and you know more about it. You have experience with it. Yeah, that's really cool.
I love that. That's a great image.
Yeah. And so, do you work with couples as well with the tantric education, Kundalini awakening, or how do people as couples, whether they're hetero or non-hetero or homo, couples work with this together. I think that would be a really beautiful
yeah,
practice,
it's
right?
so fun to do this with couples. It's so much fun. And this is how I initially discovered it, was with my husband, actually, because we had been together for years and wanted to spice up our sex life. So that it's like, oh, this is a good way in. And so let's learn about Tantra. And we discovered, like, wow, it is about more than sex. And so we actually, when we started doing that, just the level of intimacy and the level of connection really went through the roof in a way that we could have never imagined.
Oh gosh,
so
I can feel it in my body, like such warmth, such beautiful. I mean, I'm not feeling it in my heart and in my solar plexus, what you're describing, so
it's
beautiful.
Crazy. I think it's beautiful just to be able to share that with somebody that's important to you and that you love, to share that energy and to circulate that energy. And the thing that I really love doing, and my husband and I love doing together, is creating and building that energy together and then using it to manifest, having some shared intentions, or maybe he has his and I have mine, but working our energies together to sort of like imprint those into reality. It becomes a really fun process doing that. And so that's one of my passions too, is really working with couples and allowing them to go through that experience, because it's a beautiful experience.
So a couple could work with you, and they could work with you remotely too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And is that what you and your husband did? Or did you actually have a coach or something, or was it reading books? What are some of the different tools an individual or a couple could start to utilize?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So when I initially started, we actually we were living in Los Angeles, and we were going to these tantric circles. So we were doing those, and we were doing pujas too.
What's a puja? I don't know that.
So a puja is where you have men and women come together in a circle, and it's almost like you do it little stations. So each couple is like a station, and it's a revolving station. So the women would you have an exercise, and then you would switch. So the women would like move over to another one. But then some, if they weren't comfortable with that, could just stay. And if they want to just go deeper with their partner, or then they can just stay with their partner and do it. But the idea is that this work really transcends, like the whole thing about it transcending sexuality, and that you can experience and move this energy with anybody, really. So that's kind of what the puja is. Like just an opportunity to like see other energies and breathe with other energies and visualize with other energies. And just, it's pretty fun to experience different ones in one evening. And then, so we did that. We did a circle. We also got a lot of books and a lot of like couples massage books too. And applied tantric practices to those books, because they weren't necessarily, tantra massage books. But it's kind of fun just when you start learning that foundation of breath work and being present in the body and being aligned, to your energies and connected to those subtle energies. It's fun bringing that into just other just traditional or basic, like a basic massage book or something with massage techniques. So taking that and then bringing in the presence and the breathing and all of that. So we did a lot of experimenting with that kind of stuff too. I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Actually, if you don't mind my interjecting, because with the pujas and the exercises, and if you switch stations to another partner to do the exercises, are these exercises like just breath work type of stuff? Or, I mean, because I know some Tantra classes have the couples where you're actually doing lovemaking acts with other people in the room. And
okay. I've never done one.
I have a friend, actually Kurt and I have a friend who has done that. And he was talking about, I mean, there were other couples in the room, and at first they're like, you're naked and you're doing, and you're being guided. But he's like, but after like a few minutes, you completely forget that the other people are there, and it's just about you and your partner. And I thought, well, that's it's very vulnerable to do it. Okay. You're like, I don't want to go with that. I didn't think that's what you meant.
No, that's a good question. So
Yeah.
there's different ones. So what I'm talking about is the white tantra form.
Okay.
The white tantra is white is like the breathing, right? The visualization, and do you know yab yum pose?
No.
Where you'll do, okay, so you know how like the guy will be sitting with his legs crossed, and then the woman sits in the lap, kind of like straddling, and then arms around.
Okay.
So that would probably be as risque as it got.
Yeah.
Just like sitting there and then synchronized breathing, like together, synchronizing breaths, or maybe touching the forehead and breathing, or visualizing energy moving between chakras, things like that. But a lot of it is just visualization, breath work, sound, maybe like moving things through sound in the body. And then some movement, maybe also like sitting back to back and then doing some breaths like that. So that's that. So that's like the white tantra thing. But then what you're talking about there with your friend.
And by the way, my friend it wasn't like basically an orgy. They weren't switching partners,
Okay. I see.
Yeah. No, but they were, doing sexual tantric practices in different, in their own spaces with other couples in the room and being guided, which again, I think that vulnerability and moving into it. And you forget about it, and I think it's really lovely, right? Can you imagine?
Yeah. So that's more like what we call red tantra.
Oh, okay.
The red, that's the red level. So where you would be, naked, taking off clothes, and then really like there, feeling vulnerable, as you said, but being in the space with others, but also, you're still safe in that bubble with your partner,
exactly.
But able to explore, those sex with that guidance. Yeah.
But see, here's the thing is so beautiful about the white tantra that you're talking about with your partner, even, like your partner who's maybe your life partner, you've been together for years or whatever, doing these fully clothed, breathing, aligning your energy centers and just looking into one another's eyes and breathing. There's such powerful intimacy.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can switch to a stranger and just have that, you really get in that namaste energy, because it doesn't have to do with the physical form. It has to do with so much more than that. And if you can feel safe in doing that with a stranger and then moving forward, that's as intimate as sex can be, just about.
Yes, it really is.
I think, I've talked about this before on other podcasts, actually, when I've been on other people's podcasts, and something that's unfortunate about the conditioning surrounding sex is that it is supposed to be something that, and this means even in your partnership, because you can be together for so long. It's like, well, we've been together this long, so we're not like hot for each other. We just do it because we have to, But it's always spiritual. No matter how you do it, you are connecting your energy and your energy centers. And it's always powerful. And if you think about different sex positions too, it's like if you align in a way where the throat, crown, and third eye are aligned with their sacral root and solar plexus, that's like that. Those energies are serving one another. You know what I mean? So I'm talking about sex positions. You get it. But any way that we're moving around, we are serving ourselves in different dimensional kinds of connections and puzzles. So I just get, you know what I mean? Like, it's so beautiful. We break it down that way, I think.
I love that. Yeah, no, thanks for saying that. That's beautiful.
And so your workshops, do you do kind of the white tantra, or you do some of that? Or
yes, the white tantra. And it's like I always say, if couples can work together like that and then go home and make love from that place, it is powerful. Sometimes it's funny because just doing that alone can be enough, for that evening. So,
absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
You feel like it's crazy, because if you start really working with your energy centers in that way, doing 15 minutes of gazing into your partner's eyes, breathing together, and then opening up your chakras together actually can make you feel like you've just had sex.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wow, that was good. And then, so sometimes people will do that and be like, oh my gosh, I'm good. And then sometimes people want to do that and then go into lovemaking with that energy there in them, which is also amazing. So it's a win-win either way.
Right. Well, we are almost out of time, but what else would you like to share about your book, Fierce Woman, Wake Up Your Badass Self? And not just for women, actually. It's great for men. Yes. If you like women at all, it's a great book for you. if you are, or you like women or the feminine.
Yes. Let's see. What would I want to share? Oh, here's one that I want to share. This would probably be a good one to end with. Okay. So this is something that I tell a lot of women that I work with, is that if there's one thing that you do every day, I highly recommend breast massage. Breast massage. Oh, really? It's like out of this world amazing. So for women, the breast, this is where the heart chakra is, yes. Right? So this is where all of those energies of love, of communication.
I think there are 6, aren't there 6 Chinese, no, that there are 6 meridians in each, right? Yeah.
I think so. I'm not as familiar with Chinese, but the Chinese meridians, but I know like with, just with the tantric work that I've been doing, just going across this way, and out here, like moving away, there's so many subtle lines of energy here in the breast and in the chest area. So just the simple act, like even if, because I say, one of the best things to do is to get some oil and, to take off your top and your bra. And then if you have some time in the space to do it, is to really do it. But I know that's not realistic. And that's not even something that I do every single day. But for me, even if it's just the simple act of waking up, and after I do a breathing practice or meditation practice, then the simple act of working with the breast and the chest, and then like rubbing this area, even clothes with no oil, and making circles and going inward to out and waking up that energy, really puts you just in that place of the divine and feeling your power as a woman. It's amazing. So it just really, you start feeling it. So within the first couple of days, you're going to start feeling like this electricity and this vibration in the heart that happens. So as you do it more each day, it starts opening up to where you just start feeling this warmth and this, there's just very strong energy and tingling here. And then that energy just starts leaking out, because the heart chakra sits right in the middle of all the chakras. So it starts leaking out, above and below, and just coating the body with just this power and this vibration of love that's just really amazing. And this feeling of pleasure in the body, just allowing and just like creating that space where it's safe, to make time for your breast. That's an act of self-love, is just to make time to be present with the breast and the energy there, and to allow yourself that feeling of peace and pleasure in the morning. It's so amazing. Oh, and the last thing I'll say is that immunity. So immunity is connected to the heart chakra and the breast.
Oh, wow.
So you're actually helping your immune system, get stronger, and you're increasing that sense of well-being within the body too. So it's just so powerful. So sometimes I'll even do, like, if I feel like a hint of something, like, oh my gosh, it might be, I might get sick or I'll go and I'll do a breast massage for 20 minutes. Wow. And then I'll just kick up my immune system and then just knock it out. So I highly recommend. That's one of the things.
Yeah. I got so many chills, and I almost wanted to cry as you were describing it. But you just think about it, like you could do it in the shower. If you have some coconut oil in the shower, I have one that with a pump, you pump, and just like. Yeah.
Just seriously rubbing this area, even like the chest area, like below the collarbone, from there on down to the breast. It just works wonders. I'm telling you, like there's a big difference between a day that I start with a breast massage and a day that I start without a breast massage. Yeah. It's a big difference.
And this is, again, this is for men too, because men have the same energy centers here. This, like you said, starting from here too, that's where the high heart, which is considered a minor or a sub chakra, high heart is basically the divinity, the Christ consciousness energy, and it is speaking divine truth. It's your expression. But are you familiar with EFT tapping?
Yes.
This is how you start. You set up an EFT tapping session by massaging the sore point, and say, if you're having an issue, let's say I'm stressed out about work. Let's say, even though I am stressed out about work, I deeply love and accept myself. So that's amazing. Like these are all aligned.
I love that.
And it's
right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And I've studied EFT too. Yeah, I love that.
Oh my gosh, I'm so doing that.
You need to do it. Oh my gosh,
Kurt, I'm gonna get Kurt some coconut oil too, so he can massage his breast. That's my engineer.
No, thank you for bringing that up about men too.
Yeah.
That's really great because
Well, I'm just thinking of all the things like, oh, I need to give this tip to my husband or my friends or something. That's a powerful tip in exercise. Thank you so much for that. I'm super excited to start that right away because it is easy. Sometimes it's hard it is just hard for us to start new habits. But if you did it in the shower or bath or whatever, because you do that.
You're always going to be in there.
You do that.
You got to get there sometime.
Exactly. Unless you're nasty. But you can just start with 90 seconds. And if you if you ritualize it for 21 days, then it's a habit. It's a habit that now it's hard to break it because it's a new habit.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that. I love that shower thing. That's good.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, so Rhoda has a really great YouTube channel. I haven't even mentioned that. So Rhoda's YouTube channel link is in the description, however you're watching or listening. And you do videos regularly, I bet, on all of these tips, right? All different kinds of
Yes, support. I have a lot of things up there now. I've taken a little break, but I'm going to start because since I've been going out and doing so many workshops, there's a lot of new things coming up and different things that I've been sharing. So I'm going to have a lot of new stuff up there soon too in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Well, this has been just so amazing. I'm like so excited, so charged up. It's really aligning with so many things that I have been experiencing lately. And, so the synchronicity is just undeniable. And I'm certain it is for everyone else who is connecting with this. Definitely, everyone go get Fierce Woman, Wake Up Your Badass Self, Rhoda's new book. And Rhoda Shapiro, what a pleasure. And thank you so much for all that you're doing. This has been wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. I really enjoyed talking to you about all of this. And my body's feeling energized and I'm excited.
Me too.
Thank you so much.
If you're ever in Los Angeles sometime, hit me up because maybe you can come in studio and we can talk about some more
that would be great.
Fun stuff.
I'm supposed to be there during probably early spring doing a workshop. So
awesome.
I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah, we would love to see you. I'd love to see you in person. And even if maybe we could do a workshop or something like that, I think it would be so fun. So
that would be fun. Let's talk about that.
Okay, cool. We'll talk offline. So everyone, thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode. Just a reminder that if you listen on the podcast, that you can watch the video portion of it on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tricia Carr, or vice versa. If you're a YouTuber, you can listen to it in your car and you can find Charmed Life with Tricia Carr on a podcast feed. And again, once again, to my guest, Rhoda Shapiro, wonderful connecting with you. Learned so much in this episode. And everyone else, thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are. Hey everyone, it's Tricia Carr. I'm really excited because it is the time of the year for me to offer my Animal Communication Comprehensive Program live online. Whether you are interested in the profession or if you would like to connect more deeply with your own animal family members, having an understanding of this form of telepathy will enhance your life and all of your other intuitive gifts. About once per year, I offer this program live, and that time is now. It is starting in December of 2019, and this particular live program has some bonus time added in. So the way this program works is it is delivered live online, and we also have a private study group of a beautiful community of like-hearted animal and nature lovers. Go ahead and check it out. The link is in the description, and I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for your love of animals, for your love of our planet, and for shining your light on our beautiful world.